You are welcome to Davetuts Academy, where we are devoted to building academic excellence in students, especially in the STEM subject. Our video for today is going to be focusing on the exam prep for mathematics. So if you are preparing for any of your mathematics exam paper, WAEC, NECO, GCE, NAPTEP, GCSE, GED, IGCSE, and even if you are preparing for your JAMB exam, you are going to find this very useful because we are going to be covering quite a number of topics in mathematics. Here, for example, we'll be looking at trigonometric functions and how to construct graphs on them. We're going to be talking about commercial mathematics, ratio and proportion. We'll be looking at solving questions in variations, number-based, indices. We're going to be looking at questions in quadratic equation, circle theorems, and quite a whole lot of them. So what we want you to do is just pitch in, get set, work along with us so that you can actually prepare. You don't learn by just watching. You get your hands dirty, pause the video, also attempt the questions yourself, see what we're doing, see how you can also leverage on that to build your confidence in getting that academic excellence. The only thing we can say is if you are here to subscribe, go ahead and click on the subscription icon so that you can have access to all of our video resources as we upload them. And with that, let's head over to our video for today. In this question, we are given that 110 to base x is equal to 40 into base 5. And we're to find the value of x. To solve this type of question, the best solution for us is to convert both to base 10. And how do we convert to base 10? Here, like we have 110 to base x, we are going to multiply each of those entries with the base, which is x, and then starting from the right hand side, we start numbering from 0, 1, 2. We number the base, that is x, from 0, 1, 2. And we do the same thing to the right hand side. We number the base, which is 5, from 0 to 1, starting from the right hand side. Now, 0 multiplied by any number is 0. And we are going to have here 1 times x squared is x squared, 1 times x is x, and 4 times 5 is 20. This is going to give us this quadratic equation that we can attempt to solve with whatever method is best suited for us. Here, I'm going to be employing the factorization method. And to do that, all we need to do is to look at the product and the sum and look at the factors that we can use just to substitute into the second term of this quadratic equation. Now, that product is minus 20 and s squared. Now, don't forget the negative sign is not 20s squared, it's minus 20s squared. But the sum of the factor of that product should give us x, which is the second term. So, looking at this, for minus 20s squared, we can look at 5x and 4x, but let's still peg the sign. If we want to add or subtract the two of them to give us x, we can see that it will have to be 5x and minus 4x. So if we add the two, it will give us x, and if we multiply them, it will give us minus 20s squared. Okay, the addition will give us 5x minus 4s, that will be x. So we have our factors that we can use to substitute into the second term. So instead of writing x, we write plus 5x minus 4x. Of course, the sum of that is also s. So it's not as if we are changing anything. But looking at the first two terms now, we can factor out. Looking at the first two terms, we can see that x is common to both. So we can factor out x. We have x. X in x raised to power 2 is x. And x in 5s is 5. Okay, that's how we factor out. Then minus 4s and minus 20. You can see that minus is common to both, and 4 can also be factored out, so that we have x remaining here. Then minus 4 in minus 20. Negative signs will cancel out so that we have only 5. Okay, so now we can see that in this entry now we have x plus 5 is common to the two terms. So if we bring out x plus 5, here it will remain x in the first term. So we have x minus 4 in the second time. So we have minus 4. This is equal to 0. Meaning that x plus 5 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we need to look out at the solution that we can pick here, because we have x is minus 5 and x is 4. First, the number base cannot be negative. So definitely it can't be minus 5. It has to be 4. And we can also check, like for example, in our first expansion, in which we have 1 multiplied by x raised to power 2 plus 1 multiplied by x plus 0 multiplied by x raised to power 0. Let's just look at the left-hand side. If you are putting in 4 as the base, that will give us 1 multiplied by 4 raised to power 2 plus 1 multiplied by 4, which is 16 plus 4, and that is 20. Okay? And the right-hand side, if you want to look at that, the right-hand side is just 4 times 5. The right-hand side is 4 times 5, which is 20. And already that is showing us that the correct answer is 4. In this question, we're asked to simplify 15 over root 75 plus root 108 plus root 432 and leave our answer in the form a root b, where a and b are positive integers. Now, this is a question in Surds, and the best way for us to go through it is first to simplify it as much as possible, okay? And the simplification will start with dealing with the denominator that is having a surd, and looking at that, we're having root 75. This expression is going to be the same as 15 over root 75 multiplied by 75, root 75 over root 75. Now, here, I just want to simplify this. And if you look at root 75 over root 75, it's as if I'm multiplying by 1. And any number multiplied by 1 is not having effect on it. So it's not as if I'm changing anything. But this will help me to knock out the surd at the denominator of this particular expression. Like here, we're having root 75 times root 75. If we have root 4 times root 4, we know that that will give us 2 times 2, which is 4. All right? If we have root 9 times root 9, that will give us 3 times 3, which is 9. As a rule of thumb, if we have root a multiplied by root a, that will be a, because from indices, that is a raised to power 2 times a raised to power 2, and we can add the powers. Half plus half is 1. So we have a raised to power 1, which is a. So here, the denominator of our expression, that root 75 multiplied by root 75, is going to give us 75. So we can have the other entries plus root 108 plus root 432. Now, 15 can go in 75 to give us 5, so that our expression is now, okay, root 75 we can also break down more, but if we want to write our expression, let's say we have root 75 over 5 plus root 108 plus root 432. Now, root 75, how can we simplify that? We know that root 75 is the square root of 25 times 3, okay? And root 25 times 3 is root 25 multiplied by root 3. Now, square root of 25 is 5, and we still have root 3. So, we can use this in our first expression. Instead of saying we want to write root 75, we can say that is 5 root 3 over 5 plus, now, how do we simplify root 108? 108, we can get the factors to be 36 times 3, and then 432, we can get its factors to be, look at this, that will be 144 times 3, okay? So, instead, just like we did for root 75, we can also confirm this with your calculator. If you say root 108, now my calculator is giving me in short form, that's 6 root 3, okay? And then that is root 36 multiplied by 3, and root 36 is 6, okay? So I can just show my working here, that's root 36 times 3. The same thing with 432, that is 12 root 3. But the 12 had been, we found the square root. So for us, we know it is root 144 times root 3, okay? So now if we just cut out our 5s, we can have root 3 plus square root of 36 and 3 will be root 36 root 3. Then for the third term, we have root 44, root 3. Now, that will give us root 3. Square root of 36 is 6, so we have 6 root 3. Then, square root of 144 is 12, so we have 12 root 3. Now, this is just as if we are having, let's say we are having, for the root 3, we can take it as just a variable, say x plus 6 root 3 plus 12 root 3. You know, that will just give us 19x, but we are not using x in this case, we are using root 3. So, if we just add the 3 entries, that will give us 19 root 3. And that is the format we're asked to find our solution. So, if you just want to, if you know how to really use your calculator, you can go ahead and try and solve this question with your scientific calculator, especially the FX991ES. Just try the whole expression, 15 over root 75 plus root 108 plus root 432. If you ask the calculator to solve this, that's 19 root 3. So we're on the right track. Our correct answer is 19 root 3. In this question, we're asked to find the equation of the line passing through the points A and B as given. And point A was given to be minus 2, 7, and point B is 2, 3. And we are to look for the equation of the line. Now, just for the sake of explanation, if you are looking at the slope, slope is a change in the y-axis divided by the change in the x-axis. And that change, you can say it's y minus y1 over x minus x1. And the same slope will also be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In fact, this is the equation of a straight line, and the y1 and y2 on x1 and y2 can be gotten from the point that we have been given. Here, in this case, it's point A, which is minus 2, 7, and the second point 2 will be point B, which is 2, minus 3. So, that means the first entries corresponds to y, and the second entries correspond to, the first entry corresponds to x, and the second entry corresponds to y. So we are to use that in the equation of the straight line, which you derive from the slope. We can say, okay, now we have y minus y1. y1 in our question is 7, okay? So we have y minus 7 over x minus x1. x1 in our question is minus 2. Don't make this mistake to write just 2. It is minus 2. So we have x minus minus 2. So then y2 is minus 3 minus y1. y1 is 7, okay, divided by x2. x2 is 2 minus x1. x1 is minus 2. Minus 2, please, not 2, okay? So this, you can just open up the bracket. Negative number multiplied by negative number is plus. That's minus times minus. Then minus 3 minus 7 is minus 10. 2 minus minus 2 is 2 plus 2, which is 4. Then we can cut out to have y minus 7 over x plus 2 is equal to minus 5 over 2. So we can just cross multiply this expression such that we have, you can just, let me divide our board. So if you cross multiply, we are going to have 2 multiplied by y minus 7 is equal to minus 5 multiplied by x plus 2. Okay, so let's open up the bracket. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times minus 7 is minus 14. Minus 5 times x will give minus 5x. Minus 5 times 2 will give minus 10. Minus 10, not 10. Okay, so now if we just rearrange, this will give us 2y minus 14. When minus 5s moves to the left-hand side, that becomes plus 5s. And when minus 10 moves to the left-hand side, that becomes plus 10. So all we just need to do is to rewrite this in the order we like. So like here, I can say it's 5x plus 2y minus 14 plus 10. Minus 14 plus 10 is minus 4. So this is the equation of the line we're asked to find. This question 2b, we are given that 5b minus a over 8b plus 3a is equal to 1 over 5. We have to find a over b correct to 2 decimal places. If we just write this out, we can look at this as an expression that we can cross multiply with the aim of getting a over b. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Our aim, our target is to get a over b. So if you cross multiply, we are going to have 5 multiplied by 5b minus a is equal to 1 multiplied by 8b plus 3a. 5 multiplied by 5b is 25b. 5 multiplied by minus a is minus 5a. Okay, 1 multiplied by 8b is 8b. 1 multiplied by 3a is 3a. Now we can just collect like terms, put the b's together, put the a's together. So let's just collect like terms, move the entries that are having b to a side, the entries that are having a to another side. So we have 25b. When 8b moves to the left hand side, that becomes minus 8b is equal to 3a. When minus 5a moves to the right hand side, that becomes plus 5a. 25b minus 8b is 17b. 3a plus 5a is 8a. Now, we can recollect that our aim is to get the form a over b. So we have 17b is equal to 8a. We can actually divide both sides by b so that we have on the left hand side b is cancelled out. On the right hand side, we can divide by 8 and we do that to both sides such that 8 will cancel out. So we have 17 over 8 is equal to a over b. But we're asked to leave our answer correct to 2 decimal places. So we can say a over b is equal to, now 17 over 8 on our calculator. 17 divided by 8, that is 2.125. But to 2 decimal places will mean that we round up the 5. 5, when we want to round up, will become 1, and we add to the initial entry. So the correct answer is 2.13, correct to 2 decimal places. In this question, we are told that Ali, Musa, and Yusuf shared 420,000 naira in the ratio 358 respectively. We are to find the sum of Ali and Yusuf's shares. Now, this is a classical example of a question in ratio and proportion, and we can just note the ratio of their division to be 358, A for Ali, M for Musa, and Y for Yusuf. Now, the total of this ratio, which is 3 plus 5 plus 8, that will be 8 plus 8, that's 16. So if we just, a simple way to just look at this is that the 3 of them, that's 16. Ali and Yusuf, if you just want to consider their own share, the ratio of their proportionality, they are going to share in the ratio. Ali is 3, Yusuf is 8, so that will be 3 plus 8, that is 11. So you can just do a simple relationship between the two, that the total that the 3 of them shared, that total ratio amounting to 16, amounts to 420,000, okay? But then we are looking for the amount that Ali and Yusuf shares. But Ali and Yusuf, their own ratio, if we are taking them together, actually is ratio 11, okay? It will amount to the value that we are looking for, which we can call x. So if we relate this together, we can say 16 is equal to 420,000. 16 is 420,000 naira. 11 is equal to x. And just as simple as that, if you say we want to cross multiply, we'll have 16x is equal to 11 times 420 naira. And to get x, we divide both sides by 16. So we can say it is 11 times 420,000 naira divided by 16. And if we bring in our calculator to solve that, 11 times 420,000 divided by 16, that's 288,750 naira. So the sum of Ali and Yusuf's share is 288,750 naira. That's the sum of Ali and Yusuf's share. Now in this question, we're asked to solve 2 multiplied by 1 over 8 raised to the power x is equal to 32 raised to the power x minus 1. Now, this is a classical example in indices, and we're going to be using the rules of indices to solve them. And if you want to take that, now, we are seeing 2, 8, and 32. If we are very observant, we will see that this will amount to 2 raised to some powers. First and foremost, we should aim at using the same base, since we have identified that this is a problem in indices. So for 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 raised to the power 3. Then 32 is 2 multiplied by 7, 5 places, and that is 2 raised to the power 5. So instead of writing 8 and 32, we can write 2 raised to the power 3 and 2 raised to the power 5 in our equation that we are trying to solve. Okay? So again, the other rule of indices that we can employ is that 1 over a is equal to a raised to the power minus 1. So 1 over 8 will be 8 raised to the power minus 1, but 8 is 2 raised to the power 3. Okay? So we can say is 1 over 2 raised to the power 3, or raised to the power x is 2 raised to the power 5 multiplied by x minus 1. So if you just want to now use that law of indices, instead of 1 over 2 raised to the power 3, we can have 2 raised to the power minus 3, then all multiplied by x. Okay? So now, from law of indices, we can also open this bracket to multiply the power. So we have 2 multiplied by this other entry will now be 2 raised to the power minus 3x is equal to 2 raised to the power 5, then multiplied by x minus 1. Notice I'm putting the whole power in bracket. It's not 5x minus 1, it's 5 into bracket x minus 1. Alright? So we can further work on this. Now we're having 2 bases, 2 in 2 places, and we're having 2 multiplied by each other. The law of indices in guiding us will tell us a raised to the power m multiplied by a raised to the power n is a raised to the power m plus n. Just a single base, then multiply and we add the powers. Okay, so if you want to apply that in this particular case, instead of writing 2 multiplied by 2 raised to the power minus 3x, we can write only 1, 2. Then the first one, the power is 1. Then the second one, the power is minus 3x. So we don't want to leave out the negative sign. It is minus 3x. Then in the second place, we can open the bracket to be 5 raised to the power x minus 5. So now, we can see that we have the same base 2, and since the bases are equal, we can knock out the base to leave us with the power, and we have 1 minus 3x is 5x minus 5. If we collect like terms, we have 1 plus 5 is equal to 5x plus 3x. 1 plus 5 is 6, 5x plus 3x is 8x. So we just divide both sides by 8. We can find the value of our x to be, x will now be 3 over 4, and that is our solution to the question. In the diagram that we are given below, PQRS is a quadrilateral, and we are told that angle PQR is the same as angle PRS, and that is 90 degrees. Then PQ is 3, and QR is 4, and PS is 3 centimeters. Now, we are told this is a quadrilateral, and we are to find the area of this quadrilateral. Now, we identify the angles PQR, okay? Then we have the angle PRS. We are told that these two, they are 90 degrees. So, how best can we go ahead to find the area of this quadrilateral? Now, ideally, this is a shape in which the parameters that we are given are only the side PQ, QR, and PS, and we are to find the area of that quadrilateral. Okay? To find the area of this quadrilateral, we can look at it as a breakdown, and we can see that that is actually 2 triangles. So the area will be the sum of the area of the triangles. First, the triangle PQR that's being shown in red, okay? That's triangle PQR. Then the area of the other triangle PSR. Let me show that in blue. Okay, this is the other triangle. If you can find the area of the two triangles and sum them together, that can give us the area of the quadrilateral. So our task is now to find the area of the triangle. Now the formula for the area of a triangle is half base times height. Okay, and for these triangles, we can just express that as for PQR, half multiplied by the base. The base is QR and the height is PQ. So half multiplied by QR times PQ. That's for the first triangle. And then the second triangle, the base will be PR. Okay, so we have half multiplied by PR multiplied by the height. The height will be RS. Okay, so we have the base PR and the height RS, but we don't know the base and we don't know the height. So the first thing we need to solve for is to look for the base, the line PR, and the height, the line RS. Now, how do we go about that? We can use our Pythagoras theorem to solve for this. For example, from the triangle PQR, you can see that the hypotenuse, the square of the hypotenuse, that is PR raised to power 2, is equal to the square of the opposite, PQ raised to power 2, plus the square of the adjacent, that's QR raised to power 2. This is Pythagoras theorem, so we can find PR raised to power 2 to be 3 raised to power 2 plus 4 raised to power 2. That's 9 plus 16, which is 25, such that PR will be the square root of 25, and that is 5 centimeters. So we can input the value for our PR to know that we have our PR to be 5 centimeters, which you can use to get the area of triangle PSR. But that's not the only thing we are needing. We also need the side SR. Now from the triangle PSR, we can see that PS raised to power 2, PS is the hypotenuse, okay, the longest side, is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides, PR raised to power 2 plus RS raised to power 2. We just got our PR to be 5 centimeters, so that's no longer an unknown. We can write it out. This is 5 centimeters, okay? So we are looking at the side RS, and we are using this Pythagoras theorem to find the side RS. So if you put in the value for PS and PR, that will be 13 raised to power 2 is equal to 5 raised to power 2 plus RS, which we are looking for, raised to power 2 now. So if you rearrange this, we can take 5 raised to power 2 to the other side to be 13 raised to power 2 minus 5 raised to power 2. 13 raised to power 2 is 169. 5 raised to power 2 is 25. If we subtract 25 from 169, we have 144, such that RS is the square root of 144, and that is 12 centimeters. Now, since we've gotten RS to be 12 centimeters, we can input it appropriately in our diagram that the line RS, which is the height of the triangle PSR, is 12 centimeters. So, having all these parameters down, we can go ahead to find the area of the quadrilateral to be half multiplied by QR. QR is 4, multiplied by PQ. PQ is 3, okay, plus half multiplied by PR. PR is 5, multiplied by RS. RS is 12. We can just use 2 to cut appropriately, and this will give us 6 plus 30. Okay, 5 times 6 is 30, and that will be 36 centimeters square. So the area of the quadrilateral is 36 centimeters square. Three red balls, 5 green balls, and the number of blue balls are put together in a sack. One ball is picked at random from the sack. If the probability of picking a red ball is 1/6, we are asked to find the number of blue balls in the sack and the probability of picking a green ball. If you want to depict this just for explanation purposes, let's say we have red balls, green balls, and we also have blue balls, okay? I thought that the number of red balls, we have 5 red balls. We have 3 red balls, 5 green balls, and we don't know the number of blue balls. We're just told the number of blue balls. All are put together in a sack. Okay, we have our sack. And now, if one ball is picked at random, the probability of picking a red ball is 1/6. This is a question in probability, and interpreting this question will help us to solve it because it's not as tough as you might think if you are really looking at it. Now, from the statement that we are given, that the probability of picking a red ball is 1/6. What is the meaning of that? We know that from the definition of probability, probability generally is defined as our desired outcome divided by all the total possible outcomes that can come out of whatever it is that we are doing. Okay? Now, we can apply that to this particular case scenario. When we are told that the probability of picking a red ball is 1/6, that means we can say the probability of picking a red ball, probability of R, is 1/6. But from the definition that I just gave, we are expecting that should be number of red balls over the total number of balls. The desired outcome is red, so the number of red balls. The total possible outcome is the total number of balls. Okay, we don't know the total number of balls yet, but we can actually use this to find. But we know that this is going to relate to what's the total number of balls? The total number of red balls, that's 3. But the total number of balls, we can say is T, we don't know. So that means 1/6 is 3 over T, 3 over the total, and if we cross multiply, that means the total number of balls in the bag, in the sack, is 3 times 6, and that is 18 balls. So we have 18 balls in total, and 3 of them, they are red, 5 of them, they are green. So we can find the number of blue balls in the sack as we are asked in the question A. So we can say that from the analogy that we have gotten that the total number of balls is 18, the number of blue balls will be equal to the total number of balls, that total number of balls that we have gotten to be 18, minus the sum of the green and the red balls. Okay, it will be minus the number of red balls plus the number of green balls. Now, we just got the total number of balls to be 18. We've been told in the question that we have 3 red balls and 5 green balls. So that will give us 18 minus 8, and 18 minus 8 is 10. So the number of blue balls in the sack, the number of blue balls is 10. 10 is the number of blue balls. So our second question, the probability of picking a green ball. Probability, like we defined before, is the desired outcome over the total possible outcomes. Now, in this case, that will be number of green balls over the total number of balls that are in the sack. And we've been told that we have 5 green balls. Okay, then the total number we have gotten to be 18. So the probability of picking a green ball is 5/18. Just understanding that probability is desired outcome over total possible outcome had helped us to solve this question, and that's all we need to do. The force of attraction F between two bodies varies directly as the product of their masses m1 and m2, and inversely as the square of the distance d between them. When we are given that the force is 20 newtons when m1 is 25 kilogram, m2 is 10 kilogram, and the distance is 5 meters, we have to find an expression for F in terms of m1, m2, and d. Now, this is a pictorial view of what we are being told, that two bodies m1 and m2 separated at a distance d, and they have a force of attraction F between them. Now, we are told that F varies directly as a product of their masses, the product of their masses. That will be m1 multiplied by m2, that's m1, m2, okay? And inversely. Now, because they said and inversely, that means the product is there. Inversely will be 1 over, okay? So that will be over the square of the distance d between them. That's the square. That will be raised to power 2, okay? So we have inversely as d raised to power 2. Now, this is a classical question in variation, okay? And we're just going to use the principle of variation to solve this question and get our answer out as we have been asked. Like, for example, in the first case, we're asked to find the expression for f in terms of m1, m2, and d. But looking at this, we are only seeing a sign of proportionality. For us to make it an equation, we need to introduce the constant of proportionality. So that constant here, I want to use k. So I can now say f is equal to, now I'm not going to say is varying again because I'm introducing the constant of proportionality. So f is equal to k multiplied by m1 and m2 over d raised to power 2. But I've been given a case scenario that the force F, when it is 20 newtons, the mass m1 is 25 kilogram, okay? Then m2 is 10 kilograms, and the distance between the two bodies is 5 meters. So all of this, we are just going to substitute into the expression that we have for F so that we can find the value of the constant K. So if you do that, F is 20, we have K, M1 is 25 multiplied by M2, that is 10, divided by D, that's 5 meters. That's 5 raised to power 2, yes, 5 raised to power 2. 5 raised to power 2 is 25, so 25 can cut 25, so that we have 20 is equal to 10K, and if you divide both sides by 10, K, our K is 10 here in 1, 10 in 22, K is 2. So the expression for F in terms of M1, M2, and D2 is 2 multiplied by M1, M2 over D raised to power 2. That is the expression for F that we're asked to find. Now, this is question 1. Then, in the second case, we are asked to find the distance when the force is 30, M1 is 7.5, M2 is 4 kilograms. Okay, we can go ahead to put in those values now. Now, in this particular case, we are told that the force is 30 newtons. The first mass is 7.5 kilogram. The second mass is 4 kilogram. We have to find the value of the distance between them using this formula. Okay. So if you want to just put in all the values, you know that will give us 30 is equal to 2 multiplied by M1 is 7.5, M2 is 4 over D raised to power 2. Okay. So now this is 30 over 1, and if we just cross multiply the expressions, we have D raised to power 2 is equal to 2 times 7.5 times 4 divided by 30. 2 and 7.5, that is 15. So 15 here 1, 15 in 32. 2 can go in 4, 2 here 1, 2 here 2. That means D raised to power 2 is equal to 2, so that D will be the square root of 2, and the square root of 2, that will be 1.414, okay? Root 2, 1.414, 1.4142 meters. All right, that's the solution to our problem. In the diagram that we are given, we are to find the value of x, and we are told that the diagram is not drawn to scale anyway. Now we need to notice that this is a polygon, and for the polygon of side n is the number of sides, the sum of the interior angles is given by the formula that the sum of the interior angles of the polygon having side n is 2n minus 4 multiplied by 90 degrees, okay? Just as written on the board. Now, for this particular polygon, we are seeing that we have 5 sides, so n is 5, and then the sum of the interior angles of the polygon will be 2n, 2 multiplied by 5, minus 4, all multiplied by 90 degrees. 2 times 5 is 10, so we have 10 minus 4 multiplied by 90 degrees, and that will be 6 times 90 degrees. 6 times 90 is 540 degrees. Okay? So now, meaning that if we add each of the interior angles that we are given in values of x and we sum them together, they should add up to 540 degrees. And that's exactly what we are going to do. Okay? So we are going to have this to be x plus 20, the second angle, x plus 40, the third angle, x plus 80, the fourth angle, and x plus 60, the fifth angle. The sum of the 5 of them should give us 540 degrees. We have x in 5 places, so we can add them to give us 5x. Then we can sum up the other numerals. Here we have 20 plus 40 plus 80 plus 60. That will give us 200. So 5x plus 200 is 540 degrees, so that 5x will be 540 minus 200, and that will be 340. Okay? So we have 5x 340, and if we divide both sides by 5, the 5 can cut the 5 on the left-hand side. 5 in 34, that will be 6. 5 in 40 is 80. So you can just confirm with calculator. 340 over 5, that's 68. So that means that the value of x is 68 degrees. All right. Yes, this is a question on ungrouped data, okay? And we are told that the table shows the marks obtained by students in a biology test. Now, we are to construct the frequency distribution table using the class interval 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. If you continue, we are going to get 30 to 39, 40 to 49, and so on. So let's go ahead with our first question there. I want to get a frequency distribution table. Okay. So now, I'll just do a rough sketch here, and I will advise this is the best way to go about your work. Have the mark, the tally, and the frequency. Then, for example, we have been given the range 0 to 9. We need to find, okay, now we have 9. That's the first 9 we are seeing, and there is no other one. The frequency, therefore, is 1. Okay? Then we have 10 to 19. We are going to be looking for all the places that we have numbers from 10 to 19. Second row, none. Third row, okay, we have 18. Okay, the fifth row we have 15. That's 2 tallies. We have 16. That's another tally. Don't forget to tally your data. It will help you to actually map out what you need to get and not make mistake. You need to be very careful. Now, 20 to 29, we are going to look in the first row. We have 1. This is 25. That's 1. We have second row. We have 20. That's 2. Okay. If we still continue, the third row, we have 21. That's 3. Okay. The fourth row, we don't have any. That's all. So the frequency is 3. And the same thing we do for 30 to 39. You can see the way we actually go about doing this. In the first row, there is no 30. In the second row, we have 39. A tally, that's first one. The third row, we have 36. That makes it 2. Okay, we also have 32. That makes it 3. In the fourth row, we have 37. That makes it 4. We also have 35. That makes it 5. And in 5, we'll cross over the 4 entries in our tally. Then we'll continue with 6, 34, and that's 6. So, like this, we just continue doing all this. We use the tally as a guide, and then when we're through, we get the frequency. Now, if you are working with your question paper, you need to be careful so that you make sure that you don't miss any of the entries. And as a rule of thumb, you need to check after you are through to confirm that the total frequencies that you got is going to be equal to the total number of data that you have been given. And that's what we're going to be doing now. Okay, so I'm speeding up the video so that you don't just get bored repeating the same thing over and over, just to get the idea of how to do this, and then we can check afterwards. So here now, we want to check. Now, already we are seeing that we have 10 columns and 5 rows. That will be 10 times 5. That's 50. So all the entries, if you add all our frequencies, that should give us 50. So we have 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 plus 12 plus 6 plus 3 plus 4 and plus 4. That's 50. So you need to check with this so that you can be on the right track. Now, checking, I know that now I'm on the right track. I can go ahead with the other equation, but I cannot emphasize this enough. Once you miss out on the number of entries, there's no way the question is going to be correct. Your solution will not be correct. But if you have checked and you have confirmed that all the entries are represented, you have your frequency as desired, you can now go to get the other questions done. Like here, we're told to draw a cumulative frequency curve for the distribution. That will be a curve in which we have on the x and the y axis, we have the cumulative frequency, okay, and then we are going to be using the class boundary, and we are going to draw that graph, the cumulative frequency against the upper class boundary. So here, already we have our mark, we have our tally, we have our frequency, but we need the cumulative frequency and we need the upper class boundary. So we get the cumulative frequency by adding sequential entries of the frequencies, just as I'm going to be doing right now. In the first case, we have just 1. In the second case, we have 1 plus 3 is 4. In the third case, that 4 we add to 3 to give 7. In the next case, we have 7 plus 6, 13. Then the next one, 13 plus 8 is 21. The next one, 21 plus 12 is 33. The next one, 33 plus 6 is 39. 39 plus 3 is 42. 42 plus 4 is 46. 46 plus 4 is 50. These are the cumulative frequency data that is needed for us to plot our graph. Then the class boundary. To get the class boundary, take for example the second range of marks, the 10 to 19. What we do is we subtract 0.5 from the first entry and we add 0.5 to the last entry. So normally that class boundary will be 10.5 to 19.5. But for us, what we need for our graph is the upper class boundary. So we are going to be taking the 9.5, 19.5, 29.5 as our upper class boundary. The class boundary is from the lower class boundary to the upper class boundary, but we just need the upper class boundary. So for all of the entries, we just put in the value of the upper class boundary, 9.5, 19.5, 29.5, 39.5, 49.5, and on down to 99.5. These are now our cumulative frequency curve, the Ogive, is going to be a graph of the cumulative frequency plotted against the upper class boundary. Okay, so we can go ahead and see what we can do with respect to that. So now we are going to be plotting our cumulative frequency curve by plotting the cumulative frequency on the vertical axis, okay, and the upper class boundary on the horizontal axis. Now we are concerned about what scale do we need to use. Here we are having entries from 1 to 50, so our scale should be able to cater for that. And then the class boundary, we are having 9.5 to 99.5. If we look at the divisions on our graph and we have decided to append in units of 5, we can see 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. That caters for all the data entry that we have. So we can say 2 centimeters, that's the size of each of the tick boxes, should represent 5 units on the vertical axis. Now on the horizontal axis, we don't need to start from 0 so that we can actually get a good view of the dot 5 that are reflecting there. If we just take it in steps of 10, starting from 9.5, Here we have 69.5, 79.5, 89.5, and 99.5. You can also see that those incremental values amount to us having all of the data represented on the graph also. So also on the horizontal axis, we can say the 2 centimeter is representing 9.5 units. But you can see at the beginning of the horizontal line, it was notched, meaning that it's not it's not linear at the beginning at that point. We are not starting with 0.9.5. No, we're just starting from 9.5, then increments by 10 units. Okay. So our scale is 2 centimeters represent 5 units on the cumulative frequency axis, and 2 centimeters represent 9.5 max on the upper class boundary axis. So we now need to plot this as appropriate. In the first case, we have 1 and 9.5. Since this is 5, each of the division will just be 1, 1, 1. Okay, up to 5. So this is 1 and this is 9.5. Their point of intersection is being shown with that cross. So we just note it. This is the dot. That's 1 and 9.5. 4 and 19.5. Okay, this is 19.5 and 4 is just before 5. 29.5 and 7. We have 5, 6, 7. You can see this is the reason why actually we use the data value 9.5, 19.5, so that we can just plot them off on the graph. If you have used 10 and 20, 30, you will need to have been looking for, okay, where is 9.5? And that will not give us the exact value. So this is the best way to go about. This is even the standard way that the cumulative frequency curve is plotted. So now we just mark off the subsequent values for cumulative frequency and the upper class boundary. Like here, we now have 69.5 and 39. 39 is just before 40, okay? Then 79.5 and 42. 42 will be 2 steps above 40. 89.5 and 46, just after 45. Then 99.5 and 50. 50 is the last entry. Now, having done this, what we need to do to get our cumulative frequency curve, the Ogive, is to join all the points together. I advise students you can use a French curve or you can use a broomstick. I've also found that to be very useful. But since this is a digital workout, I'm just using my free hand to try as much as possible to make them link together. And this is now our cumulative frequency curve, the Ogive, for the ungrouped data, which we grouped and we have now worked upon. And this is the graph for the data that we are given. Okay, so now we can go ahead to solve for the other questions that we have been asked. We are done with the first and the second question now. We can move ahead with the other questions. Okay, so the other question, we are to use the graph to find the median mark for the students. So this is answer to A, this is answer to B. So C and C1, to be precise, we want to find the median mark. Okay, the median mark in the test. The median will have to be, now the cumulative frequency is 50. The median will have to be half of the total frequency. And that is half of 50, that is 25. So what we need to do to use the graph to find the median is to go to the 25th entry, which is half of 50, and trace it to the graph, okay, just as being shown. And then we trace that down to the class boundary, and the entry that is there is what is going to give us the median mark. Now, looking at this, we have 49.5. The next one, because they are incrementals in 2, will be 51.5, and the next one after that will be 53.5. The mark we are looking for is in between those two, and that will amount to 52.5. So the median mark as obtained from the graph is 52.5 marks. Out of all the marks that are scored by the students in the biology test, the median mark is 52.5 marks. So finally, we are also asked from the question that we are to find the percentage of students. Now notice, this is not marks. We are to find the percentage of students that scored at least 66 marks. Okay? Now, we are told at least 66 marks. So that is giving us the mandate to go to our mark that's on the horizontal line, and we are to find out where 66 is falling. Okay, now we've explained the division already. So 66 is coming here on the point being shown in green, and we trace it to the cumulative frequency axis, and then that is at least 66. We know the highest mark that we have is 99.5. So the range that's being shown in green, and it's just being shaded in green, is the range of students that scored at least 66 marks. That means the least is 66, they can score 67, 68, 69, 80, 85, 90, 95, 99. But 66 is the least. So it is this range of students that we are trying to look for. So on the horizontal axis, the shaded area corresponds to the marks that are at least 66. Okay. Then the number of students is going to be reflected on the cumulative frequency axis. That's the frequency range for students that score at least 66. And that will be 50 minus the lower boundary is 38. That is 12. Okay. So that frequency range is 12. We are asked to find the percentage of students that scored at least 66. So that will be 12 over the total student, which is 50 multiplied by 100%. So if you cut, this will amount to 24%. So 24% of the students scored at least 66 marks. And with that, we are done with our question on the cumulative frequency graph. In this question, we're asked to solve the inequality 1 over 3 multiplied by x minus 1 over 4 into bracket x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 3x minus 1 whole number 1 over 3. Now, looking at this question, we are seeing that we have 3 and 4 as the denominators. Their LCM is 12. So the first step for us is to multiply both sides by 12, which is their LCM. Notice that we are going to be multiplying the whole of the entry. So we have 12 into 1 over 3x minus 1 over 4x plus 2. 12 is multiplying all the entries. And what we do to the left hand side, we do to the right hand side. So we also multiply the right hand side by 12. But one whole number, 1 over 3, is going to give us 4 over 3 if we convert that to a proper fraction. So we just open up the bracket and multiply each of the entries with 12. We are going to have all this is greater than or equal to 12 multiplied by 3x minus 12 multiplied by 4 over 3. So now we can cut 3 can go in 12, 4, 4 can go in 12, 3, 3 again can go in 12 to be 4. So we have our equation to be, our inequality to be 4x minus 3 into x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 12 times 3x is 36x, 4 times 4 is 16. Okay? So with this, we can just open the bracket further. This will be 4x minus 3 times x is minus 3x. Minus 3 times 2 is minus 6 is greater than or equal to 36x minus 16. So if you are to collect like terms, put the constants together, put the ones having variable x together. We are going to have, okay, first, 4x minus 3x is x. X minus 6 is greater than or equal to 36x minus 16. Okay? So when we now collect the like terms, x minus 36x is greater than or equal to minus 16 plus 6. This will give us minus 35x is greater than or equal to minus 10. Minus 10. Okay? Now, this is where we need to be very careful. We want to actually find the expression for x. So normally we would have said we want to divide by minus 35. But what happens when we divide an inequality? Notice that this is not an equation, it is an inequality. If we want to divide an inequality with negative number, what happens? Let's take minus 4 and minus 2. If we divide minus 4 and minus 2 by minus 2, we are going to have 2 and 1. But initially, we know that minus 4 is less than minus 2. But 2 is greater than 1 when we divide that by minus 2. So as a rule of thumb, it is that the sign changes whenever we are dividing or multiplying an inequality with a negative number. Okay? So if you have -4 and -2, you divide both sides by -2, the inequality sign will change. If it is less than before, it will become greater than. If it is greater than before, it will become less than. Okay? So here, if you apply that principle, 5 can go in 10, 2, 5 can go in 35, 7. So we now have x is less than or equal to 2/7. It's not that x is greater than or equal to 2/7. No. It's x is less than or equal to 2/7. Now, after doing a question like this, as a rule of thumb, it is always better that you always draw your number line. Even if you are not asked to do that, to get your full mark, especially in theory questions like this, just also draw the number line. It's not going to take you much. Just in this particular case, we have 2/7. So I can use a scale of 1/7 on the number line. Okay, this now be 3/7. And then I will locate the point 2/7, but I'm noting that I'm having less than or equal to, because of the or equal to that is there. That's going to be a shaded circle. If it is just less than, that will be an empty circle. Then less is towards the left, and this is the solution to our inequality. In this question, we are told that ABC is a right angle triangle on the horizontal ground. Okay, so we can try and just note that the triangle ABC is a right angle triangle, but it is on the horizontal ground. Okay, so this is the ground level. Then we are told that AD is a vertical tower. So the line AD that we are seeing, this is actually a tower. Angle BAC is also 90 degrees. Okay. Then angle ACB. ACB means we start from A, go through C, and B, that's 35. Then angle ABD is 52. Then BC, the line BC, is 66 meters. Now, using this information that I've been given and the diagram, we have to find correct to 2 decimal places the height of the tower and the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from point C. Okay, first from the question, we are asked to find the height of the tower, that's AD, okay? And then we're asked to find the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from C. The angle of elevation of the top of the tower from C. The top of the tower is D, then the angle of elevation from C means that we go from C, and then we know the horizontal ground is coming from here already. So the one being shown in red is the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from C. That's angle theta. And that theta is angle ACD. So we are looking for AD, height of the tower, and the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from C. That is ACD. Now, how do we go about solving this and looking at the diagram and the information that we have been given to solve for this? Now, looking at this particular diagram, we are seeing that we're having right angle triangles. And so, 2 theorems that will seriously help us to solve this is the Pythagoras theorem and SOHCAHTOA. Okay, the trigonometric function SOHCAHTOA and Pythagoras theorem, they are going to help us a lot in solving this particular question because we are seeing right angle triangle. So, if you want to use that to solve, like in the first case, we want to get the height of the tower AD. Now, we don't have full details of the triangles that are erect. We have quite a number of details on the triangle that is on the horizontal ground. Okay. Now, to get the line AD, which is the height of the tower, we need to get the line AB from triangle ABC. Because if we get AB, then we can use trigonometric function with 52 degrees to find AD. But first, if you look at the triangle ABC, the one on the horizontal ground that I'm replicating in my diagram again, we have this as 90 degrees at point A, we have this as 66 meters, then we have this angle at C to be 35 degrees. If we want to use SOHCAHTOA, we can see that already we have the hypotenuse in this particular triangle, that's BC. Now, the side opposite the angle that we are given is going to be appended as the opposite. So we have the hypotenuse, we have the opposite, and AC will be the adjacent. So what formula do we know relates the opposite and the hypotenuse? Since we know the angle is 35, the formula relating the opposite and the hypotenuse is the sine. Okay, so we can say sine 35 is opposite over hypotenuse, and the opposite is AB, the hypotenuse is BC. That hypotenuse is 66. So you can put in the value as 66 such that we can say sine 35 is equal to AB over 66. And if you cross multiply that, we will have AB, the line AB, is 66 sine 35. So I can bring in a calculator to try and solve for that. 66 sine 35. That's 37.856 meters. Okay. So that is the value of the line AB. But I'm just first getting the line AB so that I can use it in the other triangle to get the height of the tower, the line AD. So if I'm now to consider the triangle ABD from triangle ABD, I can now say, let me just even draw the triangle out. So I have this triangle, just separating it out of the whole diagram. I've been told there is a right angle there. We have BD and A. AB, we just got to be 37.85 meters. Okay, so this is AB 37.856 meters. Okay, now with respect to 52 degrees, AD is the opposite, then BD is the hypotenuse, while AB that we just got is 37.856. Here, we are looking for the opposite, we know the adjacent. From our trigonometric function, it is the tan that relates the opposite and the adjacent. And we know that tan 52, since 52 is the angle of consideration, is opposite over adjacent. The opposite is AD and the adjacent is AB. AD is what we are looking for. AB, we just discovered to be 87.856. So we can now say, just like in the previous case, if you cross multiply, AD will be 37.856 tan 52. So if you just put that into our calculator, 37.856, that's our answer, tan 52. This is 48.453 meters. Okay, 4535 meters. Okay, but we are told to get our answer correct to 2 decimal places, so that will give us 48.45 meters to 2 decimal places. Okay, so the height of the tower, which is the line AD, is 48.45 meters, correct to 2 decimal places. So with that being done, we can now go ahead to find the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from C. All right, let's see how we can go about to solve that. That's the other question that we're asked to solve in our question. So to get the angle of elevation that we have denoted as theta, the angle of elevation of the top of the tower is D from the point C. We need to actually use our trigonometric identity to solve for it, but we also need the value of another parameter. Okay, so if I'm to draw out the diagram, now I know AD. Okay, now I know AD, but I don't know AC. All right, this is theta AD. I just got to be 48.45 meters. So this is 48.45 meters. Okay. Now, with respect to theta, we know that for us to actually use a trigonometric identity, we need to find at least one of the other sides. But here, we can find a way to get our AC. Okay. So, to get that angle of elevation, we need to get the line AC. Now, can we get the line AC from any of the previous diagrams that we have? I think we can. Looking at the triangle ABC, we have the opposite, we have the hypotenuse. AC, in this case, is amounting to the adjacent from this triangle ABC, and I'm showing in the red circle. So, if I'm just to replicate this and bring it down to where I'm solving, it will just be very clear. So here, yes, this is what we're going to have now. So here, we have AB as the opposite. We found the value of AB initially. Okay, that's the very first thing that we did. We got to be 37.856 meters. Okay, now we know the hypotenuse. It was given the question 66 meters. We are looking for the adjacent. We want to use the Pythagoras theorem. Using the Pythagoras theorem, we know that the square of the hypotenuse, here hypotenuse is BC, is equal to the sum of the squares of the opposite and the adjacent, and that is AB and AC. So this is coming from hypotenuse raised to power 2 is opposite raised to power 2 plus adjacent raised to power 2. If we put in this value, that means we are going to have 66 raised to power 2 is equal to AB, that's 37.856 raised to power 2, plus the adjacent, the AC that we are looking for in order for us to get the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from point C. So that AC, if we just collect like terms, it will be 66 raised to power 2 minus 37.856 raised to power 2. Now there will be 66 square, that's 4356 minus 37.856 square, 1433.0767. Okay. So if you subtract that from 4356 minus our answer, this 2922.923. So AC will be the square root of 2922.923. So if we are to find the square root of, just the square root of our answer, that's 54.064 meters. Okay, that's the line AC. But nobody asked us to find the line AC. What we asked to find is the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from C. The top of the tower we have identified to be D. Now we have gotten the line AC to be 54.064 meters. So now we can get the angle of elevation, that's theta reflected in this diagram. And with respect to theta, AD is the opposite, AC is the adjacent, then CD is the hypotenuse. So we have the adjacent, we have the opposite. We are looking for the angle. And what trigonometric function can we use? Opposite over adjacent, that is tan. Okay, SOHCAHTOA, tan theta is opposite over adjacent. So we can say in this particular case, tan theta, which is opposite over adjacent, will just give us tan theta is equal to, the opposite is AD, okay, the adjacent is AC. So if we put in the values for AD and AC, that means tan theta will be equal to, AD is 48.4535, AC is 54.064. So if you are to use our calculator, 48.4535 divided by 54, okay, which is our answer. That was 0.8962 That's tan theta. So theta will be arctan, this ratio will be arctan 0.8962. So arctan shift tan, that's arctan of our answer, will be 41.86744998. Okay. But we're asked to find our answer correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, correct to 2 decimal places. So if you want to solve that, that will be 41.87 because 7 will be rounded up to 1 and added to the 6. So the angle of elevation of the top of the tower, as asked in the question, the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from the point C is what we denoted as theta, and that is 41.87 degrees. That's the solution to our question. There is a question on trigonometric function graph, and we're told to copy and complete the table of values for y is 2 cos x plus 3 sin x for 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 360 degrees. Now, you can do it piecewise to try and fill in the table, okay, by using the calculator. You can say you want to evaluate, okay, like here, y. To get y, you press alpha, and where we have y in red, okay, is equal to 2 cos x plus 3 sin x. Okay. Now you can ask the calculator, you can just verify, then ask the calculator to calculate for you by pressing the calculator function. Then what's the value of x? 0. Okay. So we can see that y is 2 when x is 0. Again, you can say calculate when x is 60, and notice we are working in degrees. Now it's giving us in surd. Just press this to translate to decimal, surd to decimal. So this is 3.598. Okay, but because we are in the table that was plotted for us, it was done in 1 decimal place, so we can round that up to 1 decimal place. Or when x is 120, put that in decimal, y will be 1.6. When we round up 1.598 to 1 decimal place, that will be 1.6. You can just continue like that, but as a rule of thumb, generally, I advise students that you don't need to be calculating piecewise like this. It is better for you to actually use the table. The FS911ES has a function of generating a table automatically for you, and that will limit the error that could have been generated. So if you go to mode, then 7 for table, you can find the function of x. Now our function of x is y here. You can say it is 2 cos x plus 3 sin x. That x is alpha bracket. Okay. So what's the start value? We want to start from 0. What's the end value? We want to end at 360. Okay. Then what's the incremental value? What's the step? It is being taken in steps of 60 degrees. So with this, the calculator automatically generates our table for us for the value of x and the function of x. And you can see the first entry is 0, y is 2, the second one 60, y is 3.6, and on like that. Now, down to the last entry, 360. You can see for 240, we have minus 3.6. So this is quite accurate. And on the go, you get all the values. It will limit the mistake that can be done. So once you have generated your table, you can just fill in the table. And for example, when s is 360, it is 2. That's already a complete circle. In degrees, 360 and 0 are actually the same thing. So this is 2.0. So with that, we are through with our table that we are asked to complete. So we are to use this table to now plot our graph. But on the graph, we are to use 2 centimeters to 60 degrees on the x-axis and 2 centimeters to 1 unit on the y-axis. So no problem. They've given us the scale. We don't have any problem with that. So here, already we generated our table. This is the table of values for the equation y is equal to 2 cos x, that's 2 cos x plus 3 sin x. Okay, that's what we generated previously. Now we want to plot the graph for that particular equation, graph of the function y is equal to 2 cos x plus 3 sin x. We've been given the scale to use, but we need to see the distribution of our axes. Now, for example, on the x-axis, we don't have any negative value for the x. Okay, the degrees are all in positive range, so we need to move our vertical axis towards the left so that we can cater for all the positive values of x. But for y, we have negative and positive values. We have plus 3.6 as the highest value. We have minus 3.6 as the lowest value. So we need to scale that evenly above and below the horizontal axis. So using the scale that we are giving, 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the y-axis, then 2 centimeters to represent 60 degrees on the x-axis. This is what our graph layout is going to look like. And the scale is that 2 centimeters represents 1 unit on the y-axis, while 2 centimeters represent 60 degrees on the x-axis. So with this, we can go ahead to use the values that we have in our table to plot our graph. Like in the first case, when x is 0, y is 2. So x is 0 degrees, y is 2. That's being shown in blue, that's y 2. When x is 60 degrees, y is 3.6. So for us to have 2 to 3 in these divisions and there are only 5 boxes, that means each of the boxes is going to take 0.2 units. So 2, 2.2 and co. So 3.6 is going to be here. Okay, and then we have 60 degrees and 3.6. Their point of intersection is going to take our second entry. So we have 60 degrees and 3.6. Then when x is 120 degrees, y is 1.6. When x is 180 degrees, y is minus 2. That's shown in the cross, and I'm just dotting it out now. When x is 240 degrees, y is minus 3.6. That's here. Okay, where the meet is here. So this is 3.6. When x is 300 degrees, y is minus 1.6. Okay, that's located here. Okay, so when x is 360 degrees, y is 2. So we can go again up, and that completes the cycle. Okay, it's a complete cycle, 0 and 360 degrees. That's a complete cycle. Now, looking at all these dots, because we know that is a trigonometric function, we know it's going to be sinusoidal. So we are going to join them sinusoidally. So again, students, it's best that you make use of your French curve or a broomstick to link all these points. But because I don't have that, I will make do with a freehand sketch. And I think this is a good representation of what the graph can actually look like. And with that, we have drawn the graph, we have plotted the graph of y is equal to 2 cos x plus 3 sin x. Okay, so now on the third question, we're asked to solve the equation from the graph. We have to use the graph to solve the equation 2 cos x plus 3 sin x is equal to minus 1. Now, if you take this equation we're given and we are to compare with the equation we've been working with, that is 2 cos x plus 3 sin x is equal to y. If you compare the two, you can see that the left-hand side are equal. That means the right-hand side, they are also equal. So y is equal to minus 1. Now, in graph, what does y is equal to minus 1? What does it translate to? That translates to the fact that we need to locate minus 1 on y and draw a straight line, because this is actually a straight line graph. When they say y is minus 1, y is actually constant with that. So what we plotted initially is the graph of y is 2 cos x plus 3 sin x. That is the value of y. That's sinusoidal. But now we are saying that y is a constant. Y is minus 1. So we just go to the point where we have minus 1 on y. And here, y is minus 1 does not depend on x at all. You can see x is not being shown there. It's just a constant for all values of x. So we just plot a straight line graph on minus 1. So this is the graph for y is equal to minus 1. Okay? The line shown in blue, this is y is equal to minus 1. All right? So now, once we have that, now appropriately we should label that, like I labeled the red, you also label the blue, that this is y is minus 1. Now, what is the solution to that? We just need to trace from the point of intersection of the sinusoidal curve and the straight line and trace to the x-axis to find the solution for our equation that we are looking for. Now, in the box, we have 0 to 60, taking 5 box 6. So each of the boxes is going to be 60 divided by 5, which is 12. So this graph on the x-axis is an incremental of 12. So we want to start from 120. We have 120 plus 12, 132 plus 12. That will be 144 plus 12. That will be 146. Okay? And then plus 12, we can see that will be 168. But our intersection here is in between 146 and 158. So if we are to take the mid value of that, we know that we'll get the solution for the first one. And the second one, we can say that it's just a small increment of 1 box after 300. So it will be 300 plus 12, which will be 312. You need to understand this analysis. If 0 to 60 is 5 box 6, that means that each of the boxes is 60 over 5, which is 12. So the incremental value is 12 per small boxes. So here, we now have that the solution, as we have traced from the line y is equal to minus 1, which is shown in blue, to the sinusoidal curve, is giving us the solution to this equation, 2 cos x plus 3 sin x is equal to minus 1, to be x is equal to 162 degrees and x is equal to 312 degrees. That is the solution to this particular equation that we're asked to find using the graph that we are given. All right. Okay, so with that, we can now go to the last question that we are given. Now, make it a point of duty to show the equation, like for the red, the one I'm showing here, which you will show in pencil, you can say it is y equals to 2 cos x plus 3 sin x. For the one shown in blue, you write y is equal to minus 1. Okay, that will hand you your full mark. But because I'm just using this, I don't want it to be clustered so that you don't see what I'm doing. That's why I'm just omitting it. So now in the question 2, when x is 342 degrees, we are asked to find the value of y. So what we need to do is to locate the point 342. Now we have 312. After 312, 312 plus 12, that will be 324, plus another 12, that will be 336, plus another 12, that will be 342. So that's just the small box before 360 degrees. So now, in between the two, in between 336 and 348, we are going to have 342 degrees. And that's what we need to trace. Okay, so here is 342 degrees. So if we are to trace it up to our sinusoidal curve, okay, so what's the value on the y-axis? That value is 1. So we just need to, from our graph anyway, now I will always advise, even after getting this on the graph, confirm by calculating manually. In this case, I'm going to use the calculator, but from the graph, I can see that when x is 342 degrees, y is 1.0 degrees. We are working in 1 decimal place. So if you are to use your calculator, just say that 2 cos x plus 3 sin x, and now we want to solve for that. What will it be? Our x is now 342, and you can see this is 0.97, which is approximately 1. So we're on the right track. Our solution is 1. And with that, we have finished our question on this graph of trigonometric function. All right. A woman bought 130 kilogram of tomatoes for 52,000 naira. She sold half of the tomatoes as a profit of 30%. The rest of the tomatoes began to go bad. She then reduced the selling price per kilogram by 12%. We have to calculate the new selling price per kilogram after she had reduced the selling price by 12%. Now, in the first question, we need to be able to interpret this very well, otherwise we will get it wrong. Now, in the first question, in the first case, we are told that the total cost price for the 130 kilogram of tomatoes is 52,000 naira. That's the first statement that we are given. Now, we are told that she now sold half of the tomatoes at a profit of 30%. If you want to take out that half that was sold at a profit of 30%, for that half, the cost price will be half of 52,000 naira. Okay? Cost price for that half that was sold at 52,000 naira will be half because it is half. So that's half of 52,000 naira, and that will be 26,000 naira. So first, we are talking with half of 130, which is 65 kilograms. So the cost price for that half is 26,000 naira. Now, for us to get the selling price for that was reduced by 12%, okay? For us to get the selling price for this particular half that was sold at 26,000 naira, we can use the formula for percentage profit, which is selling price minus cost price over cost price times 100. We want to get the selling price. We have been given the percentage profit. That percentage profit was given as 30%, okay? So it's selling price, which you are looking for, minus the cost price. The cost price is 26,000 naira, okay? Divided by the cost price, 26,000 naira, for the half that was sold at a profit of 30%. So if we just cut out our zeros here, what we are going to be left with is we are going to have it that the selling price minus 26,000 is equal to 30 times 260 naira. Okay? So that means that selling price minus 26,000 naira is equal to what's 30 times 260? Our calculator, 30 times 260. 30 times 260, that's 7,800. So the selling price will now be 7,800 plus that 26,000 that we have moved from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So if you are to add that, that will be 33,800. So 33,800 is a price for the half that was sold at 30% profit. Please, we need to just be careful with this type of question because of the way the question is coming. So this is implying that the selling price for the half, that half is half of 130 kilogram. Okay, that's a 65 kilogram of the tomatoes. The selling price for 65 kilogram of the tomatoes, okay, at 30% profit is 33,800 naira. That's the selling price for 65 kilogram of tomatoes at 30% profit. So now that's the first thing that we are getting. But moving forward, we are now told that the rest of the tomatoes were sold Moving forward, we are told that the rest of the tomatoes began to go bad. So she reduced the selling price per kilogram by 12%. Okay? She reduced. Let's look at this language critically. The selling price per kilogram by 12%. We are now being asked to find the new selling price per kilogram. So it's not the case of the half that she has sold that we are concerned about. We're now looking at the new selling price, which we are told that is a 12% reduction from the initial selling price that we just calculated. Okay, so that new selling price is 12% reduction on the above initial selling price. So that will be, again, we just need to be careful here. We are told that it's 12% reduction. The reduction makes it quite interesting. Okay, the reduction is making it quite interesting. Reduction means we are reducing from a whole. The whole is 100%. Reduction is by 12%. So we have 100 minus 12% of 33,800 naira. So 100 minus 12% is 100 minus 12 over 100 multiplied by 33,800 naira. So if you are to evaluate that, 100 minus 12 is 88. So we have 88 over 100 times 33,800 naira. So we can cut such that this will be 88 times 338 naira. So 338, 88 times 338, that's 29,744 naira. So the new selling price for the remaining half that have been reduced by 12% reduction, okay, is what we just got. But we also find the new selling price per kilogram. And that is where this question is just technical. Look at the steps that we need to take by taking heed of the instruction that we are given. So what we got initially was for 65 kilogram of the tomatoes. So this amount is 29,744 naira for the other 65 kilogram that was going bad. Okay? So now we also find the price per kilogram, not for the 65 kilogram tomatoes, is per kilogram. So the new selling price now per kilogram will be this amount that we have gotten divided by 65. That will be 29,744 naira over 65, because this is the amount for 65 kilogram. So for each kilogram will be that amount divided by 65, and that will give us 457 naira 76 kobo. Okay, so that will be 457 naira 60 kobo. So this is the new selling price per kilogram for the tomatoes. So moving on to our next question now, we can look that we're now being asked to find the percentage profit on the entire sales if she threw away 5 kilogram of bad tomatoes. Okay, the percentage profit on the entire sales if she threw away 5 kilogram. So 5 kilogram will be taken out. Okay, then we have to look at the entire sales. Okay, that's quite. Let's look at how we can solve for that. Now we are seeing that initially we got the selling price for the initial half of 130 kilogram that she sold. Now we also have the selling price for the other half that was getting bad, but she had thrown away 5 kilogram of bad tomatoes out of 130 kilograms of tomatoes. So that means he threw away 5 kilograms of the bad tomatoes, then the quantity of bad tomatoes that was left will now be 60 kilograms. Okay, because initially it was 130 kilograms, 65 were good, 65 were bad. Okay, so now the quantity of bad tomatoes she sold after throwing away 5 kilograms will be 65 kilograms minus 5 kilograms. That's 60 kilograms of tomatoes that are sold at 457.60 kobo per kilogram. You need to know that. Okay, these 60 kilograms that are bad, each kilogram is sold at 457 naira 60 kobo. Okay, so the total selling price was the price that she sold the good ones. So that will be selling price of the good 65 kilogram tomatoes. Okay, plus, because it was split into half, plus the selling price for the bad Now, it's not 65 now, it's 60 because you are thrown away 5 kilograms. So, if you get the understanding of this analogy, then we can go ahead to solve for the total percentage profit of what she got. We have good 65 kilogram and bad 60 kilogram. 5 kilogram have been thrown away. So now, if we want to find that, we have found the selling price for the good 65 kilogram initially as 33,800. Okay. Then the selling price for the bad 60 kilogram tomatoes will be 60 kilograms multiplied by the price per kilogram, because like initially from where we are coming from, the quantity of bad tomatoes she sold was sold at 457 naira 60 kobo per kilogram. Okay, that's the amount she sold them per kilogram. So now the selling price of the whole 60 will be 60 multiplied by the amount per kilogram, which is 457.60. So this will now amount to just, for us to evaluate this will be 33,800 plus what 60 times our answer, which is 457.6. Okay, that's 27,456 naira. Okay, so if we add the two, we add that to 33,800, that will give us 61,256 naira. That's 61,256 naira. So this is now our total selling price. We know our cost price initially, so we can find our percentage profit. The percentage profit is the selling price minus cost price over the cost price times 100. And for the entire sales, it will be the total selling price minus the cost price over the cost price times 100. So it's just, we've just gotten the total selling price to be 61,256 naira. Okay, minus the cost price that she used to purchase everything, that's 52,000 over that same cost price times 100. Okay, so these zeros can cancel out, and we have 61. Our answer minus 52,000, that's 9,256. 9,256 over 520, and that is equal to, divided by 520. That's 17.8%. That's our percentage profit for the entire CC. Well, for this type of questions, getting to really understand the question correctly will help in solving it. Otherwise, we'll miss it. But we have shown you the step, and we hope that you can also leverage on that to solve subsequent questions on that. The third and sixth terms of a geometric progression, a GP, are 1/4 and 1/32 respectively. We are to find the first term and the common ratio, and we are to also find the seventh term. Now, for a GP, the nth term is generally given as AR raised to power n minus 1, where A is the first term and R is the common ratio of the geometric progression. So, for this particular question, we are told that the third term, that will be T3, which already we have been given as ARN minus 1, but instead of n, now we say it is 3, okay, 3 minus 1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. We are told that that first third term is 1/4. That's the first statement in the question, okay. So we can call this equation 1, and if we also continue with the other sixth term, we are told that the sixth term is also AR raised to power 6 minus 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. We are giving that to be 1/32. So if we call this equation 2, we can look for a way to solve these two equations. And looking at them, the best bet for us is to just divide equation 2 by 1, or equation 1 by 2, anyone that is convenient. Here, I'll be using equation 2 divided by 1. So that will be AR raised to power 5 divided by AR raised to power 2 for the left-hand side. Then 1/32 divided by 1/4 on the right-hand side. The A's will cut out. So here we have R raised to power 5 divided by R raised to power 2 is equal to 1/32 divided by 1/4. I'm writing it in this way so that it can be easy for me to solve. Using the laws of indices, r raised to the power 5 divided by r raised to the power 2, we can just take one of the r and subtract the powers. So we have r raised to the power 3 is 1 over 8, and that is what we are going to try and solve now. That r raised to the power 3 is 1 over 8. So we can say r is the cube root of 1 over 8. Alright? Or instead of saying 1 over 8, we know 1 over 8 is 2 raised to the power 3. So we can say r is the cube root of 1 over 2 raised to the power 3. And of course, the 3's can cut out so that our r, the common ratio, is 1 over 2. So for us to now get the first term, we have to get the first term and the common ratio. That's the common ratio. We can take any of the two equations that we got initially, substitute for the value of r so that we can get the first term. So if we use the equation 1, r raised to the power 2 is equal to 1 over 4. So instead of r, we have 1 over 2 raised to the power 2 is 1 over 4. Now 1 over 2 raised to the power 2 is 1 over 4. And that means those 1 over 4s will cut out and a will be gotten to be 1. So the first term is 1. The first term a is 1. And then the common ratio r will get that to be 1 over 2. All right. Now that's not the end of the question. We also have to find the seventh term. Using the general formula that we have gotten initially, the general formula for the nth term, that's Tn is equal to ar raised to the power n minus 1. Since we know a, the first term, and we also know r, the common ratio, we can find the seventh term. Okay, so the seventh term, if we are to go ahead with that, we can say it will be T7 is equal to ar raised to the power 7 minus 1. So 7 in the place of n, then we know our first term a and the common ratio r, such that T7 will be 1 multiplied by 1 over 2 raised to the power 7 minus 1 is 6. So that's raised to the power 6. So this is 1 over 2 raised to the power 6. 2 raised to the power 6 is 2 in 6 places. So if you want to use the calculator for that, 2 raised to the power 6, that's 64. So the seventh term for this geometric progression is 64. And that is all there is to this question. Given that 2 and minus 3 are the roots of the equation, ax raised to the power 2 plus bx plus c is equal to 0, we have to find the values of a, b, and c. Now, 2 and minus 3 being the roots implies that x is equal to 2 or x is equal to minus 3. Okay, so what we need to just do is to just work in the reverse order as if we are solving our quadratic equation, but now we are going to go in the reverse order. So from here, you can say x minus 2 is 0 or x plus 3 is equal to 0 when we move those values to the left-hand side. And now we just combine them to be x minus 2 into x plus 3 is 0. If you are to open the bracket, x times x is s squared, x times 3 is 3x, minus 2 times s is minus 2x, minus 2 times 3 is minus 6. So that we have s squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation that we get from using 2 and minus 3 as the roots. Now, if we are to compare with the equation we are given, as squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, comparing the coefficients of x and the third term, okay, we are going to see that the value of a is equal to 1, the value of b is equal to 1, and the value of c is minus 6. That is the values that we are asked to find from the question, and this is as simple as it can be. But alternatively, there is actually a general formula that is used to solve this. If we know the root, we can work with the sum of roots and the product of roots with the general formula that s squared minus the sum of the roots, alpha and beta being the roots now, then times x plus the product of the roots is equal to 0. So in this case, if you want to use this formula, we could have just said that we have alpha plus beta. Our alpha plus beta will now be the sum of the roots, and our alpha beta will be the product of the root. The sum in this case will be minus 3 plus 2, and the product will be minus 3 times 2. If we use this, we also get the same answer. So that is the solution to our question. Any of those cases would have sufficed us to get the solution. Given that sin y is 8 over 17, we have to find the value of tan y over 1 plus 2 tan y. Now, we are seeing sine and we are seeing tan. So this is a classical example of our trigonometric function SOHCAHTOA. Because you know that sin y will be, that was given as 8 over 17 is actually opposite over hypotenuse. So if we are to draw the right angle triangle, because that's where we are using this trigonometric identity, if we are to draw that, and we say this is angle y, the opposite, the side facing the angle, that's the opposite, okay? The longest side, that's the hypotenuse, and the third side is the adjacent. So in this particular case, we are told that the opposite is 8 and the hypotenuse is 17, okay? Then if we call the adjacent x, we can actually find the value of the adjacent if we are to make use of Pythagoras theorem by using the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the square of the opposite plus the square of the adjacent. So we bring in the values for the hypotenuse and the opposite. We can solve for the adjacent, which is x, by saying x square is 17 square minus 8 square. And if we use our calculator, this is 17 square is 289 minus 8 square is 64. That will amount to 225, so that x will be square root of 225, and the square root of 225 is 15. Okay, can always confirm that root 225, that's 15. So now we know our adjacent also to be 15. So we can now go ahead to put in these values for the value that we're asked to find. We first did this by applying the Pythagoras theorem. So if you want to now find tan y, we just got in the adjacent for the right angle triangle. Tan y is 12, that is opposite over adjacent, okay? So tan y is opposite over adjacent, and the opposite to y is still 8, but the adjacent is now 15. So this is the value that we use to find the question that we are being asked here, the value of tan y over 1 plus 2 tan y. We just need to put 8 over 15 in all the places that we are seeing tan y, okay? So tan y over 1 plus 2 tan y will now amount to 8 over 15 divided by 1 plus 2 times 8 over 15. So if we just want to open up this bracket, you can see that this will give us 8 over 15 divided by 1 plus 2 times 8 is 16. That's 16 over 15. So for the denominator, we can just find the LCM for the denominator in this particular fraction. We still have the numerator intact. So 1 plus 16 over 15, the LCM is 15. 1 in 15 is 15. 15 plus 16 that we are seeing there. So this will give 8 over 15 divided by 15 plus 16 is 31 over 15. Now, not to be confused, I will just break this down as 8 over 15 divided by 31 over 15. Okay, and now to solve that, we just need to reverse the second fraction and turn the division sign to multiplication. So 15 can cut, and this will give us nothing but 8 over 31. So tan y over 1 plus 2 tan y is going to yield us the solution as 8 over 31, and that is our solution. An amount of 300,000 naira was shared among Otobo, Ada, and Adeola. Otobo received 60,000 naira. Ada received 5 over 12 of the remainder, while the rest went to Adeola. We are to find the ratio in which the money was shared. Now, the share of the three of them, Otobo, Ada, and Adeola, is amounting to 300,000. Okay, but now we are told that Otobo received 60,000 out of that 300,000. So Otobo got 60,000 naira. Therefore, the remaining amounts that will be shared between Ada and Adeola will be 300,000 minus the share of Otobo minus 60,000 naira. Okay, so that will give us 240,000 naira. All right, so we are now seeing that Ada and Adeola, they share 240,000 naira. That is the remainder after we got the share of Otobo out of the total money. So now we are told that Ada received 5/12 of the remainder. And remember, we just got the remainder. So Ada's share will be 5/12 of the remainder, which is 240,000 naira. So that's 5/12 times 240. 12 can go into 40,000 to give us 20,000. So 20,000 times 5 will be 100,000. So Ada's share is actually 100,000 out of the total of 300,000 naira. Now, since we now got Otobo's share, we have gotten Ada's share, we can get Adeola's share. Okay, Adeola is going to get the remainder initially, which is 240, minus the share of Ada, which is 100,000. Okay, so Adeola will get 240 minus 100,000, that's 140,000 naira. So we have gotten the amount that each one of them got, and that will help us to get the ratio in which the money was shared. So the sharing ratio will just be that for Otobo ratio Ada ratio Adeola. You just need to bring in their money, okay? The amount that each one of them got. That's what we just need to bring in, and we just find how we can divide them to the barest minimum, and that will give us our ratio. So this will give us 60,000 naira for Otobo, 100,000 naira for Ada, and 140,000 naira for Adeola. Now, what numbers can we use to divide all this? So we can see that, well, all the 60,000, 100,000, and 140,000, all the zeros, 0 in 4 places, we can knock that out. So we have this to be 6:10:14. We can still use 2 to divide all of them. So we have 6/2, 10/2, and 14/2. So that ratio will give us 3 in the first place, 5 in the second place, and 7 in the third place. So the sharing ratio that we're asked to get, the sharing ratio for this question is 3:5:7 for Otobo, Ada, and Adeola. In the diagram, RS and RT are tangents to the circle with center O. Angle TUS is 8 degrees, angle SRT is equal to X, and that's also equal to Y. We have to find the value of X. Okay, now to solve this question, we need to apply the circle theorems to this question to help us solve it and bring out the relevant answer that we are being asked. And the first thing we need to note is that in a diagram like this, in which we are having the radius and the tangent, the angle between the radius and the tangent of a circle is a right angle. Okay, so here the angle RTO, the angle between the tangent RT and the radius TO is 90 degrees, and the same applies to angle RSO. Why? Because these are the angles between the radius of the circle and the tangent of the circle. Okay, that's one of the circle theorems that will help us to solve this particular question. And so that means that we have gotten 2 of the angles in this diagram that were not given, and those 2 angles are being described as 90. They are right angles. So at T and S, we have 2 right angles like this. Now that is the first thing that we need to note. Now, sequel to that, if we also look critically at the angle, we can see an arc subtending an angle 68 degrees at the circumference, and also subtending an angle at the center of the circle. So the angle at the center of the circle, angle TOS, that's being shown in red, is going to be equal to 2 times the angle at the circumference TUS. Okay, so that means, and why are we saying that? We are saying that because another circle theorem that can help us to solve this question is that the angle subtended at the center of the circle is twice the angle subtended at the circumference by the same arc. So now, if we are looking at these 2 theorems, we can now look at the figure, and we will just see that our question is easily done and solved, because here we are having a quadrilateral, a polygon with 4 sides. Okay, Because if you just want to look at the fact that angles of triangle are center of circle by an arc is twice angles of triangle circumference, we can say that angle TOS is equal to 2 times 68, 68 being the angle TUS, and that is 136. So, since we have these two parameters already, we can see that for the quadrilateral RSOT, O being the center of the circle, the sum of angles in that quadrilateral, the interior angles, they will add up to 360 degrees, just like a rectangle with 4 sides. This is a quadrilateral, a polygon also with 4 sides. The sum of that angles is 360, and so all the points marked in blue, if we add them, the sum is going to give us 360 degrees. So we can say angle X plus 90 degrees, okay, plus the angle at the center of the circle, 136 degrees, okay, plus the other angle between the tangent and the radius, 90 degrees. They will all add up to 360 degrees. So if we bring in our calculator to sum 90, you can say 90 plus 136 plus 90, that's 316 degrees. So x plus 316 degrees is equal to 360 degrees, such that x will be 360 minus 316 degrees. And that will give us, this will be 44 degrees. So that is the solution to our problem here. We have this question on word problem, and we are told that two tanks A and B are filled to capacity with diesel. Tank A holds 600 liters of diesel more than tank B. That's 600 liters of diesel more than B. Okay. Then we are told that if 100 liters of diesel was pumped out of each tank, tank A would then contain 3 times as much as tank B. We have to find the capacity of each tank. From the first statement that tank A holds 600 liters of diesel more than tank B, that means that A is equal to 600 plus B. Okay? So for every time that the two tanks are filled, A will have 600 liters more than B. But in the other case, we are told that if 100 liters of diesel was pumped out of each tank, okay, so let's subtract 100 from A and 100 from B. Then A would then contain 3 times as much as tank B. So that means A minus 100 is equal to 3 multiplied by B minus 100. And if we open that bracket, we'll have A is equal to 3B minus 300 plus 100. Okay? That will give us 3B minus 200. And we can call this equation 2. So we have a set of simultaneous equations that we can solve. And we can use any method that is suitable for us. Easily, we can say we can substitute 600 plus B for A in equation 2. Okay? So if we use equation 1 in equation 2, equation 1 is telling us that A is equal to 600 plus B. So instead of using A in equation 2, we can just say 600 plus B is equal to 3B minus 200. So if you collect like terms, 600 plus 200, when 200 moves to the left-hand side, it becomes plus, is equal to 3B minus B. When B moves to the right-hand side, that becomes minus. So that will give us 800 is equal to 2B. And if we are to divide both sides by 2, left-hand side and the right-hand side, if you are to divide that by 2, you can just say over 2 and over 2. Then the 2 will cut out. 2 in 800 is 400. B will be 400 liters. Alright? Okay. Then, to get the value of A, we can just use this value of B that we just got, that B is equal to 400 liters. We can use it for B in equation 1. Okay? So if you are to use that, our A, instead of writing A is equal to 600 plus B, you can just say A is 600 plus the value of B, that's 400, and that is 1000 liters. So just interpreting this question and expressing it in mathematical form had helped us to evaluate the value of B and A. So we can say the capacity of each of these tanks, the capacity of tank A is 1000 liters. Okay, that's the capacity of tank A is 1000 liters, while the capacity of tank B as we have calculated it from the question, is 400 liters. And that is the solution to this problem. So with that, we have come to the end of our mathematics exam prep for today. Now, somebody once said that school should not stop your academics. Now, for this period in which coronavirus is rampaging the whole world and so many students are staying back at home, I'm just trying to encourage you out there to say that schooling or no schooling, your education should continue. That's why we are putting in this effort that even in the confines of your staying at home, you can still continue to prepare, you can still continue your studies. Not only academic studies, you can lay your hands upon some other studies, informal studies, learn a skill, learn a trade, learn some creativity. Just engage yourself and make the best use of this time. Our prayer is that coronavirus will not rampage you, it will not rampage me, it will not rampage our home. And we're trusting God that soon this will be done away with and will come out victorious. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share with your friends, share with your loved ones, and until next time, God bless you.